How we doing, everyone? Andy Malfrina, this is Drag the Lake. Let's talk about AI music. I've been seeing a lot of people go on and on about AI music. It's a lot. We've talked about it. I think we talked about it on here, Drag the Lake. I've talked about it with a lot of friends. It's a lot. It's weird. It's you know what it is. I think because we never heard the like bad version of it, or maybe I didn't hear it. I'm just saying like the stuff that's going around right now, that's trending around right now, a lot of people hear it, and I don't know so much if like the average listener really had that like middle ground where, we're having it with like AI images where you could segue into it, for a while. It's like, oh, look, that looks kind of like a person, and that's a little fucked up, and the hand's kind of weird, and it's like, and then now we're getting used to the fact like, I don't know about you guys, but that picture of the Pope in the puffy coat, like, that got me. Yeah, I just saw that, and I was like, yeah, that's a real picture, and apparently it was not a real picture. Because I don't know. They maybe got different kind of fashion over at the Vatican, but I think the big thing with AI music is, I know for me, like, the first taste I got was some I forget what it was. They just did like a Lil Uzi Vert verse over some like SoundCloudy rap type song. And then no, I know what it was. They took a Future song and just made Lil Uzi Vert rap it. And I remember hearing that and I was like, that sound. I didn't hear any like pixelated noise. I thought I was gonna hear some like like auto-tune crackling or some type of digital footprint or like that. Am I using that word right? I don't know. I thought I was gonna hear something like that and I didn't. And I think a lot of people had the same experience where it's just like, oh, it sounds like the fucking song. I think the one that fucked me up the most, they did someone did a country song with Kanye over top of it, and fuck did it sound. It actually, the singing was actually better than Kanye's singing has ever been. So that's how I knew it was definitely fake, because I was like, oh, the singing's pretty fucking good. But the one that was going around that got a lot of people buzzing is the Drake. There was a Drake and Weeknd song, which I think was kind of poignant because I don't know if they've really had. Or I gotta be honest, I'm not huge into Drake. I've actually, ever since Weeknd shifted to like city pop or whatever the fuck he's doing now, I'm a little bit more on the side of the Weeknd, but I don't really fuck with Drake. So I gotta be honest, I don't know exactly when the last time they've done a collab, but they don't really do that. I don't think they've done that in a long time. Now that I'm thinking about it, but like either way, it was definitely so like. It being Drake and Weeknd, it definitely got trending a lot more, and you started seeing a lot more people talk about it. And I think the reason I'm making this video is I think people are sort of focusing on the wrong thing. And a lot of people are focusing on, this is bad. We need to figure out something to get in the to get in the way of this, to get out in front of this, da da da. And I think doing that, a lot of people are going to run into the same problem that we ran into with Napster, or I should say, like, the record companies and bands like Metallica and shit like that ran into with Napster. Is I think what you're trying to do is like put your like there's a I don't know, there's a wall that's sprung a leak, and you're just popping your finger in there and like that'll be fine. Nah, that shit is going to burst, and it's gonna hit us all, and it's just gonna be here. I think that's what like back in the days of Napster, and if you're too young to remember Napster, it's basically, you know how you can get all the songs ever on Spotify. Well, it was like that, but people actually had to upload their own version of the MP3 onto this website like Napster. Excuse me. There's also websites like Kazaa and shit, or I'm sorry, not website, but they were I was really bad with them. Many a virus downloading internet porn. I was very bad with them. So that's why I'm bad with the vernacular. But basically, people would be like, "Oh, I got the shit," and then they'd upload it, and we would be like, "Can I have the shit?" And they'd be like, "Totally." You know what I mean? Like, it would just be like that. And a bunch of bands, understandably so, people getting, you work on this album. You want people to pay for it. People are getting it for free. You're pissed off. So a bunch of bands are pissed off about it. But the reality is, this was like the pre to the inevitable, if that makes any sense. So the inevitable right now is we're all streaming shit. I give Spotify fucking what is it? I've been on a fucking me and the wife break down the streaming things, and Spotify's been her forever. So I don't even know how much Spotify is right now. But you pay Spotify that money, and then they give you all the music. Napster just had a sloppy illegal version of that. And I think in a similar sense, it's what's gonna happen with AI. So I think this whole and the mindset is kind of representative of how people get fucked up in the music industry in general. Is record labels do it the most, but a lot of people get fucked up where they just don't accept the inevitable. And I think people are going to get fucked up with this AI shit where it's like, you're not going to stop it. You know what I mean? We already see now. I mean, like, dude, I probably like once a day get tricked by AI pictures on Twitter. I'm sure I'm getting tricked, not even realizing I'm getting tricked. You know what I mean? Shit like that. I'm getting a bunch of stuff. Like I just saw there was some people were talking. There's some first person shooter video game, but they're trying to make it like hyper realistic, like you're watching it on a fucking GoPro or something. I saw a video. Someone posted a video of that, and I was like, all right, I'll take your word on it that this is a game. It does not. It looks much more real than a fucking game, but I'll take your word. So it's like all this AI shit is inevitable. It feels like a thing you can't really stop, and it feels like the reality is you just kind of gotta assimilate or figure out. I didn't upload a video about this. Well, I wouldn't have really talked about it on this channel, but on my No More Heroes channel, where I don't talk about music, I talk about just sort of like politics and culture stuff. I meant to upload a video about this. I probably talked about it on a podcast or two, but basically the idea that I'm having, and this might be just coming from generally trying to be have a positive outlook on life. You go through your day, everything's so fucking gloom and doom, everyone's nihilistic and shit. So sometimes I try to make a positive spin on shit, and I'm looking at the AI, and I think what AI is going to do is it's going to encourage people to sort of live their life more analog. It's just going to put a stank on the digital sphere. You know what I mean? Where if you go on Twitter, because the reality of life is people crave authenticity, and a time like now, people crave it the most. And AI is essentially, well, in some avenues, like I saw someone post on Twitter, they like asked ChatGPT to give them a suggestion on a TV show, which is one of my biggest problems in life, just in general, besides never having money and you know what I mean, just a slow crawl of getting closer to the dark light of death. Whatever. You guys know. One of my hardest things in life is just picking a fucking TV show. There's too many fucking options. I miss the days of fucking Blockbuster. It was a simpler time. That's what I miss. That's I like all the options, but it's the decision making is harder. So someone was like, "Yo, ChatGPT, what's a good show to watch?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a good utility." And then in other aspects, so there are some positive utilities for it, but generally speaking, it's going to create this like false world. It's going to create this world where we like don't. It's hard to prove any authenticity. You know what I mean? We already have a hard time being person to person agreeing, having like a shared reality. You know what I mean? Now every time you open your phone, you got to question everything that's in front of you. It's going to make people crave authenticity. And the only true way to get, after a certain point, the easiest way to get to authenticity, before Neuralink kicks in, I guess, is just going to be like going outside. So I think if people sort of embrace the inevitable and figure out like, okay, like AI is gonna monopolize the digital space. I'll use the digital space as like a fucking what am I trying to say? Just like a way to advertise myself and encourage heavily more in the actual space, in the real world. Just it's gonna shift things to be more analog and more like give it a more personalized user experience. Like check it out. Think about, and I'm not trying to bring this up to be funny, but think about like where all the money in the porn industry is. Like I've heard porn girls talk about it. Like you go, Like they don't they go to the companies like Brazzers and stuff like that to get their name out, but where they make the real money is going on OnlyFans. And not even people just signing up for like the basic membership. Like on OnlyFans, they'll do shit where you message them, you go, yo, can you give me a video where you do stuff like that? It's that personalized, authentic experience. And I know it's a silly example, like, you know, people might like roll their eyes because it's porn or whatever, but it makes the point I'm trying to make. Is you see it in porn where, you know, sort of the digital space is oversaturated. Now OnlyFans is still digital, but it's a more okay, so it might not be analog, but it still is to a degree. You know what I mean? But it's analog, and the difference between, you could have for when I'm recording audio and I'm doing this shit, you could have an analog mixer versus having a digital mixer. It's still like electronic, but the way it runs is from an analog standpoint. So I think that the best thing we do with this AI music is accept the reality, realize AI is the new Napster, and just shift to a more analog experience. And honestly, I think, you know, like, I think we're slowly learning all the different toxic angles of social media, and I think it would just be better for people. There's obviously a bunch of great resources. There's a bunch of great things about social media, but the farther we get through life, the more of its toxic nature gets exposed. So I think it would be good for us anyway to shift to a more real-world analog experience. So I'll say it one last time: AI is gonna be the new Napster. Oh, it's not gonna. It is. It is. People just don't realize it yet. AI music is the new Napster. So just, you know, accept that and adjust accordingly, and just figure out where you fit in. It's easier said than done, but I think that's what it is. So yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Check out the podcast. Link for it down below. I love you all. Have a great week. Be about it. Peace.